So, welcome to Are You Covered Enough? Today is Tuesday, and it is like, 2 days before Christmas? So, thank you for tuning in to the show today. A couple of things I just wanted to, I'm trying to straighten out my camera, so bear with me. Sorry. A couple of things I just wanted to let you know today is that I was supposed to do a show, and I'll just let you know. I was supposed to do a show a couple Saturdays ago, and it was open enrollment. And I'll be honest, I just did not have the opportunity and the time to actually complete that show. So I apologize. So I'm doing that show today. And so we're going to discuss life insurance because as we're getting into the 2021 year, it's critically important, in my opinion, that we begin to have these discussions about, like, okay, what is life insurance and why is it important to me and why is it important to my family, right? And really talk about the benefits, right? We're going to talk about, obviously, the reasons why people need life insurance. But we're also going to talk about the benefits that could be for you and your family and your kids if you, right, were to use life insurance as an investment tool and as a living benefit tool for your kids, honestly, yourself, and any, might as well say, wealth building options that you may want to have in the years ahead. We're also going to talk about the other half of life insurance because you can't talk about it without talking about the other half, which is basically the final expense. And yes, I'll just be honest. We have a time, right? We have a time to live and we have a time to pass on. So when we do pass on, what are we leaving as a living benefit for the ones that we leave behind? Because we all have people that we love. Right? No matter who you are, you have people that you love, you have people that you're close to. And with that, you usually, more likely than not, I'm just telling you, want to be able to leave a legacy for them. And a legacy for them can be making things easier after you are no longer here of this earth, right? So we're going to talk about final expense too. And I know some folks will be like, well, Monica, it's a couple of days of Christmas. You're supposed to be happy. Yes, you are supposed to be happy. And this is not a, doom and gloom conversation. I mean, if you think it's a doom and gloom conversation, I'm sorry, it's not. It's really about planning and planning for your, again, investments. The investments are the ones that you love and also could be cash benefits for you. So I can't wait to have this discussion today on Are You Covered Enough? And I'm looking forward to getting into it. So as always, I got some banner questions and topics to go and start with. So I'm going to put up my first banner. Okay, so I'm going to show this banner. So according to the National Funeral Directors Association, the median cost of a funeral, right, burial service and Avant is $9,135. And then the median cost for cremation is about $5,150. Right? So I have to start with having you tune into the show today, understanding why this is important. And it is important, right? So the questions I want to start out with is that most people, just being honest, don't have close to $9,000 of liquid cash on hand that they could just go grab. That is just the reality of a lot of people's situations. Now, okay, so I don't have, 9,100 plus that I can grab. Now let's look at 5,100 plus. Do you have that, right? And now we're going to this in a situation that we're not talking about you. you listening into the show. We're talking about basically the ones that you are leaving behind, your loved ones. So they would have to have access to those funds that you would have liquidity to. Do they have that? These are real questions, because when the time comes and no one wants to think about it. Okay, look, nobody wants to think about it, but we got to, because planning for your family and your might as well say even after, right? It requires planning. It literally does. You can't just sit here and say, okay, well, and I hear this a lot inside of my community. And I'm just saying my community, African American community. Yes, I am going to say it. Well, if I do that, it's all about basically making sure somebody can benefit from me when something happens to me. So I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry, that is like not the most best thinking. I'm just being honest. It's not the most best thinking. And let me tell you why. And as the banner go across the screen, right? So when something happens, the first thing that happens is the shock of the event, the shock, right? So you're leaving your loved ones to deal with the shock that you're not here anymore. So that's enough right there. That's a lot. On top of the shock, then you're also leaving them with trying to figure out what they're going to do, right? You didn't give them any plans. So they don't know, okay, so they don't know what it is that you wanted. So they're scrambling with the stress of the loss of you, trying to, meanwhile, between time, deal with everything that's in front of them. Now, I'm going to just put a question out there. Do you think that's fair? Because I can tell you it's not. It's not fair on no end, no aspects whatsoever. And I hate to say this too, but I'm going to, because this is called Are You Covered Enough? So we just get real with our discussions. When sometimes people go on to the afterlife, there are others that are looking to say, well, how can I basically gain an advantage off of that, right? Now, I'm not talking about your loved ones, right? The direct loved ones, I'm talking about other folks. And so if you haven't made plans, the folks that are dealing with the stress and the emotions around your loss, while they're trying to figure out how it is that they're going to arrange everything, can also basically be taken advantage of by ones that are the ones that you are saying, oh my God, I'm thinking they're going to do that. It's not, in some cases, your loved ones. It's about the ones that seeing your loved ones going through what they're going through, and they're trying to figure out how they can use that to their advantage. You can stop that. You can stop that whole train. By basically making things very clear, by planning, okay? By planning in advance. So when things happen, there's already a pathway for the ones that you care most about to follow. And that's one reason right there that you need to get life insurance. Again, I'm especially talking to all, but I'm really, really honing it down on my community today, because I've seen this so many times that it can be avoided. It can literally be avoided. So that's one aspect of life insurance I just wanted to get out the way at the beginning of the show, because yes, it's that real. So next, I wanted to put unfortunately this year, and particularly, it has been a perilous times year. That's a good way to describe it. I don't know what other ways to describe this year besides just to say, wow. And I mean, you almost want to do a face palm in regards to the tremendous amount of upheaval that 2020 has been. And yeah, so with that, I want to put up this figure. Unfortunately, this figure is true in regards to not only has this year been a lot of upheaval, a lot of stress, a lot of emotional, might as well say, ambivalence, just kind of like all over the place, right? But in the same aspect, this figure, sorry, and I'm going to hide the last one, so give me just a second. So the preliminary figures suggest that the United States is on track to see more than 3.2 million deaths. And that would be about 400,000 more than 2019, when there were 2,839,205. That's real life, right? And so we have to deal with that. We can't just basically like avoid. Avoidance is so easy to do, right? The first thing that I talked about, oh, well, no, I'm not going to get anything because I'm too concerned about who's going to, take advantage of me when I'm gone. That's avoidance, by the way. That is just straight out avoidance because of the fact that you as an individual don't want to plan and deal with the fact that you as an individual, as we all, will not be here at one point. That's just that you literally don't want to do that. I can name so many stories about family, not even family members, if you want to go there, and I'm talking about other people's families. It has happened in my family too. That a loved one passes on, and it's do you have $500 or do you have $100 or do you have $50? I know we didn't. Yes, this is true. And they're trying to come up with money within days. And GoFundMe's are just, most look, I'm just being honest. These are not GoFundMe's. These are just like, okay, we just got to figure it out like in 3 days. Right? Because unless it's, quasi in the news or popular, right? GoFundMe is not going to go work. So you have to go ask everyone that to try and help you within 3 days to try and figure out what you're going to do with the loved one who is no longer here. Real talk. Again, that can be avoided. With covert, I don't know. I know there's people out there that's saying, this, that. Okay, let's just deal with facts. There are people who, including myself, that have known people who started 2020 that are straight up not here right now in December. Now, there are people that say, well, maybe so-and-so, it was just, no, I don't want to hear that. Yeah, I don't want to hear so-and-so and this and that. It's excuses. The point is that they're not here right now, right? So we don't know. In most cases, when we will be called. We just don't know. And we don't know what from either, in most cases. Unless it's like cancer or something like that. But most people don't think that they're going to turn around and get cancer either. And then they find out they have it. And then it's like, oh, I got it. By the time that you get a disease Let's just say cancer, heart disease, COPD. It is hard and in most cases too late in order to try and make sure that the loved ones that you leave behind don't have stress. I said most cases, not all, but most cases. So life insurance are living benefits. Yes, I said that word, and you're like, wait a minute, you didn't talk about death, Monica. What do you mean? Life insurance is a living benefit. It's a living benefit because of the fact that if you're planning for life insurance, if you're planning while you're living, it can be a living benefit. Whoa, what? Yes, because there's different types of life insurance. That's what we're going to talk about. But I had to give you I guess you could say the real first, and this is real afterwards, but the real is a good way to go about it, because we needed to talk about the real because there's a lot of avoidance right now, and it's just that's not tenable. So we just had a real. So now let's talk about these benefits, the living benefits that I would love to discuss with you. So let's go there first. All right, so here are some living benefits of life insurance. Number one is that it can be income replacement for years of your lost salary. I'm going to tell you how, okay, where this is not. You can also use it to pay off a home mortgage. Whoa. And you can use it to pay off other debts like car insurance, credit cards, and student loans. What? Wait, what, Monica? You were talking about the first half. You're talking about Yes, I was. Now I want to talk about living benefits again. Okay, let's dive into that. First things first is that there's two types of, and my hair keeps getting in my way. I don't know this morning, but there's various types of life insurance. There's whole, there's term, there's universal, right? So a lot of people have what's called term life insurance, and term life insurance is a great product, by the way. And here's the reason why. Because for term life insurance, you can say, okay, for 10 years or 20 years or 15 or 30, I want to have a set rate, and I want it for a specific period of time in order to give a benefit to, again, my loved ones. Term life insurance, in some cases, can be converted over to whole life insurance, which we're going to talk about secondly. When I show these figures, those things you can do, that's where we're going to talk about whole life insurance. So next, the advantage of term, we talked about the lower cost. We also talked about basically the amount for the specific time, right? And so with term, it's like, okay, well, I am planning to keep my costs low, have a benefit that my loved ones, would be able to have if something happened to me. Know that I have that peace of mind that, no one's going to be scrambling at the end, okay, in that term year, into terms of the year. And not, just generally feel like I done made a really good investment wealth decision for myself, right? Because even though you may say, well, aren't you got? It is for yourself. Don't go there. And also for the ones that I'm leaving behind. Term life insurance can also be something that is used with a whole life product in order to help pay off mortgages. Whoa, what are you saying? So let me be specific about that, and that's where we're going to dip into a bit of mortgage insurance. If I have a whole life product, right? And first, before I even get into that, let me describe briefly what's a whole life product. A whole life product basically says that it is going to cover me either up to 20 years or up to the paid to the age of 100. I should say paid to 20 years or to 100, right? And pay for a set number of years. A whole life product also builds what's called cash value. Yes, it pays dividends. And with that, it builds a cash value. A whole life product also can allow for you, if need be, to take loans from the face amount in order to cover certain things, right? Like, you say you needed to get your child a down payment for a home, and you had a whole life product for, I'm just going to say $75,000. The child needed $10,000. You could borrow against that policy of $75,000 for a whole life product, and then be able to give that child $10,000 for the house. Now, you say loan, Monica. Yes, it is a loan. But if for some reason you don't pay that loan back and you keep the policy, of course, you want to keep the policy because you want to keep the policy. Then what happens with the death benefit is that it just decreases by that $10,000 that you gave your child in order to buy their first home. Whoa, are we talking investment now? Yes, we are talking investment. Which is why you should just definitely have a whole life policy. That's number one. Number two is that you can also put whole life on a term and underwrite it with a term. Right. Now we're going to talk about the mortgage aspect that I was speaking of. All right. So you want to make sure that if something happens to you, that there's enough money to pay off the house and leave it behind for your loved ones, benefactors, right? The house payment, the house is worth $250,000 in this case, right? So there could be a whole life product that's written for $150,000, and then a term under that. Now, as you pay off the house, you're going to begin to have less that's due on the house, right? So if you put in a term under that, then the term, again, for a specific time period, can be taken off. So just say now is 15 years later. Well, darn it, I only owe $138,000 on my house because you didn't pay it off a lot. You don't need to keep that term, but that whole life is still there, right? Guess who can benefit from that? You, your family members, and this is while you're living. Maybe auntie or uncle needs something. You got something you can take money from. Again, $250,000. So if you needed to take $50,000, you can. Again, it only decreases the death benefit. So when I talk about basically things like paying for your kids' college, when talking about helping out like long-term care, which is like skyrocketing, right? For our future, is that it doesn't matter, a lot of people are going to need long-term care. Long-term care insurance, you can still get it, but it can be a cost to it. But it's not as costly, honestly. In most cases, you get a whole life policy. Wow. And that can actually help to pay for long-term care that you may need in the future. I'm going to talk also about benefits that are associated with your job. I hear this so much. Monica, I have life insurance at my job. I'm good. While you're at your job. One of the things that we have learned with with the coronavirus situation, is that some people have actually, unfortunately been furloughed, laid off, businesses have closed, etc. Right? So the life insurance that they may have had at their job, unless they kept it with COBRA, which means they have to pay a bit more than what they paid inside of their payroll, right, to keep that life insurance. Unless that happened, they lost their life insurance when they lost their job. So now they're without life insurance. This is real. I mean, these things happen, right? Here's what I would suggest, right? I'm just giving a suggestion. Is that it's great that you have life insurance at your job, and no one should not take their life insurance that they have at their job. But you should also have your own private life insurance outside of that. I mean, I have a personal story to share about this. And this is how it happened, right? This is how I learned this. Like, oh goodness, now we're talking 2008. So in 2008, for years, I worked in the telecommunications industry. I had some great life insurance while I was there. And I, loved my job. It was a great job. Then changes happened, is a good way to say it, because I worked in the industry over 12 years. Around the same time, I had lost some relatives. So basically, I ended up being laid off. Oh, that was the first time in my life I had been laid off from anywhere, I'll be honest. And so it was a shocker for me. And it was a shocker about thinking about, oh gosh, what will happen if something happens to me? Or if something happens to my kids? That's when I learned that I needed to have life insurance outside of my job. I have kept those policies since. The good thing now is that I have one of my, now they're grown, children that's looking to buy a house. And back then, I decided to do some whole life insurance policies on the kids. She has a down payment now because of that. I hadn't even thought about it in 08, but now I think about it in 2020, and I'm like, gosh, that was such a smart investment decision. And I still have my private policy for me, right? Still is that. And you really can't consult and tell other people to do this is a good investment for them unless you're willing to do that yourself. And I would never, ever not have my private policy. Never. And I'm glad I made that decision then. This is real. This is real, right? These are things that are real. When I talk about why it is that you need to have your own outside of whatever's tied to your job. Scenario number 2. A lot of times with policies that are tied to your job, those can be what's called decreasing. What, Monica? No, I have $100,000 worth of life insurance at my job. It's $100,000. I know it is. Yeah, it is. Until in some cases, and this is not every job, so please check your policy at your job. So, in some cases, they can also be decreasing. So, when you become the age of 62, what happens in some cases with policies, they are again decreasing terms at the certain point of retirement, and they begin to decrease in some cases, sometimes 5,000, sometimes 10,000, until they get down to a certain point. Now, how do I know this? Is because a lot of the policies the basic policies, unless they got additional policies on top of that basic, at the automobile manufacturers, like the people that worked in the plant, those were decreasing policies. They may have had 100,000, but when they got 62, it started decreasing by $5,000 a year until they hit $5,000. And then your family finds out that when you're 80, that you thought you had a $100,000 policy, but it didn't decrease down to now you only have 5,000, because once you hit retirement, it started going down. That's another reason why you want to have your own, right? That's a real reason. These are real life scenarios. Planning over avoidance is always a good thing. Planning for life benefits that can help you and your family while you're living with whole life policies. Planning for when you are no longer here and leaving less stress for the ones that you leave behind. Planning is always a good thing. So I wanted to have this discussion because I believe that number one is critically important. So the products that MRW Solutions Group can offer, we offer whole life insurance. We offer term. We offer universal too. So those are policies that basically are tied to the index, and they can build wealth basically based on the stock market. Now I let you know, stock market goes down, that investment can go down. So universals are really for people who understand, that you're willing to take a bit more risk with your investment as it relates to life insurance. But if you just want to make sure that you have a set amount, whole life, that you can, maybe go back and get some cash benefits from while living, that's whole life. Term, you want to set them out for a certain time. You want to make sure that that policy is affordable for that time. That's term, right? And some terms can even build dividends, honestly, just to let you know. And then last but not least, final expense. Because sometimes we have to just have a final expense, right? That means that I want to make sure that I have 35, 25, maybe 20, maybe 15, in order, in just thousands, in order to make sure that the ones I leave behind have what's needed to take care of my final expenses. MRW Solutions Group, we can consult on all of those, and we can find a solution for you. Last, before I leave today, I want to talk about, and I'll put my information up. I want to talk about dental insurance. Oh my God, yes, it is 2021, and vision. 2021 is like around the corner. Like today's the 22nd, right? If you don't have dental and vision insurance, first of all, I want to talk about, I'm not going to name names, so I don't name, clients unless they decide to say that's what they want. But I can say I have been able to get some people some great dental and vision policies that now, like, okay, we're right before 2021. We're in 2020, right? So now they can go get them some glasses, right? For this year. And then turn back around in like March and get another set of glasses or contacts, because you're right on that edge, right? You're on the edge for this year, from being able to take advantage of the benefits for this year, and then still be able to take advantage of the benefits for 2021. And when I talk about prices, I'm talking less than, in some cases, less than $11 a month for dental insurance. And that's just amazing. Well, I should say vision insurance. Sorry, that's amazing. For dental insurance, less than $35 a month in some cases. I'm going to do a whole show on why you need dental and vision insurance, and how you can literally have both for like less than $55 a month. We'll do a whole show on that. But I wanted to talk about, because we're running up on the new year, that if you don't have dental and vision insurance yet, definitely get in contact with us, right? Because there are 9 days, maybe, I think, left in 2020 that all of us want to leave. Honestly, while you got those 9 days left, get you some new glasses. Try and if you can, get yourself into a dentist, right? Before the end of 2020, and then turn around and be able to take advantage of the same benefits in 2021. So that'll be a whole nother show, dental and vision. So I know it's the holidays. We're coming up on the holidays. Holidays is like 4 days away. I just wanted to say this is going to be the last Are You Covered Enough show for 2020. We will have shows in 2021. So with that, first of all, please stay safe. Please make sure that when you're out, you're wearing your mask, you're social distancing, you're doing what you need to do to make sure you're keeping yourself healthy, right? Number 2, have a Merry Christmas. Also, Happy Kwanzaa, which is coming up too around the same time. So Happy Kwanzaa. New Year, enjoy 2021. Lord knows, we all hope it's going to be a better year. I don't know if you're like an astrology person, or if anyone is an astrology person that's listening to the show. But it was if you are, yesterday, it was Jupiter and Saturn kind of came close, right? Closest that they have came in like centuries, decades. And so it launched into what's called the Age of Aquarius, right? Which is basically deep change. And also with the deep change, it's going to bring in a era of humanism for the years ahead, for the next 200 years ahead. I'm a believer. After everything that we have just personally experienced, everyone in themselves with COVID, whether, you have been apathetic to COVID, or actually you have been kind of person that's been like, okay, I'm going to take care of my health, and I'm going to, make sure that I keep me and my family healthy. I think we all need to look at the era of how we are better stewards of ourselves and also our environments in the world. If, the great connection that happened yesterday, and being able to see the Star of David, which was also available yesterday, if that brings in more of a humanitarianism for people to look at not just themselves, but others, and how we correspond ourselves inside of an earth environment that is not just about us. It's about we. That would be a good thing. So don't know if you're into astrology, but yesterday was a huge event for folks that are into that. All right. And obviously I'm one of them. So thank you so much for listening in. We're going to be tuning up out of here for today. Again, MRW Solutions Group, my contact information is at the scroller at the bottom. Feel free to contact me if you would like to talk about life insurance. We also do life, health, and wealth. So we do annuities, dental, vision, yes, pet insurance. If you need pet insurance, call me. So those are just some of the things that we do. But we can, we're licensed in multiple states, Texas, Ohio, Virginia, South Carolina, in addition to Michigan. And even though ACA is over, open enrollment for ACA is over. You can still be able, if you need a health insurance plan, you can still get into ACA off exchange, which means that you will pay a little bit higher, but you will still have coverage that's needed. And you can also look at other type of health insurance policies that will make sure that your health is covered into 2021. We can talk about that. And last but not least, because Medicare enrollment, the open enrollment is also done, but there's also people that may be turning 65 within a short time period, next 6 months. If you happen to be one of those people, call me. I would love to talk with you about your Medicare options. So with that, have a happy holiday, Christmas, Kwanzaa, New Year, and stay healthy. And I look forward to talking to you in 2021. See you later from MRW Solutions Group.